For those who don't know me, I'm Nancy Reyes, leader of Prince of Peace's Racial Justice Team. For the past 2 weeks, since the start of Epiphany, you've been hearing other members of the team, Joan and Tim, as well as Pastor Frolke, talk about Reverend Jehu Jones, the first Black Lutheran minister in America, who started a Lutheran mission church for African Americans in Philadelphia, only an hour away from here. In case you missed them, the past 2 adult forums were recorded and are available on POP's website, one on Jehu Jones and Pastor Paul Roram's presentation on 2 familiar songs of the Black church, both as part of this Epiphany emphasis. That leads to why I'm speaking to you today, to challenge you to join Prince of Peace's version of the New Jersey Synod's Bishop Challenge. Last year, one of our racial justice team's goals was to move our congregation from talking and building awareness of racism and white privilege to more action against systemic racism. We sent out a survey to see where the members of this congregation would prefer to send donations for reparations, and it was clear that the top choice was to support Lutherans of color going into the ministry. By coincidence, Bishop Tracy Bartholomew put out her challenge right around the time our survey ended, asking congregations to have conversations about race, commit to following the Bishop's Challenge schedule of synod-wide events over the next year, consider confession and lamentation for the uncompensated loss that underpins the African American experience in the U.S., and help raise $50,000 to support the lives of emerging leaders of African descent in our church today. You can see more about that on the flyer that we distributed. Prince of Peace had already been working on most of that, and we realized that her goal for reparations fit right in with POP's survey responses. So the team decided to merge POP's first reparations campaign with ELCA's New Jersey Synod program to have a greater impact. Because POP has focused on racial justice for more than 2 years now, and because we have such a generous congregation, we know Prince of Peace can do much better than the $375 the bishop is asking. Her number was chosen because it was the cost Jehu Jones paid in the mid-1830s for each of the 2 plots of land he bought to build his church. Remember though, Tim shared last week that $375 then is really equivalent to about $873,000 or much more now, depending on how you calculate it. So shouldn't we try to repay a lot more than $375 to show that we as a denomination were wrong? We Lutherans owe descendants of African Americans for not welcoming them into our established white congregations, when, by the way, other denominations were integrating their churches at that time. A Lutheran synod also ordained Pastor Jones as a Black Lutheran pastor and then refused to support the mission church he started with their blessing. Despite multiple requests, the synod, who wanted segregated churches, offered no help to pay the mortgage so they could have their own Black Lutheran church. And when he went to New York to try to start a Black church there, that Lutheran synod also refused his request. This was almost 200 years ago, so it's no wonder our ELCA is still 93% white. It's time we do something to change that. Your racial justice team is starting the Bishop's Challenge Reparation Fund with $250, and we know POP members together can give much more than the $125 needed to reach the bishop's goal for each congregation. If I were to pass a plate around to those sitting here on most Sundays, we could probably collect that amount in pocket cash from those here. So instead, we are adding a 0 to the bishop's number. We know some of Prince of Peace are struggling financially, but fortunately many are not.
we're challenging members and friends of POP to prayerfully donate whatever you can to try to gather $3,750 to help Lutherans of color attend seminary. All of us can be part of changing our denomination to a more inclusive community by contributing to this goal. $3,750 is nowhere near today's value Tim shared of $873,000, but together we can raise $3,750 or more. We've been emphasizing the challenge during the season of Epiphany, so we're asking each of you who are privileged to not be treated as unwanted by the Lutheran Church because of your race to write a check, make an electronic transfer, use PayPal, or even give cash, marking your donations as Racial Justice Bishop's Challenge between today and February 27th, the end of Epiphany, to do your part to start making reparations as a church. We'll be updating a progress chart throughout the coming month to show everyone how we're doing. Let's show the New Jersey Synod and people of color in our church and community that Prince of Peace is not only talking about changing systemic racism, but giving our own money to our brothers and sisters of African descent to diversify our seminaries, to make changes at that level of our denomination, and to support Black Lutherans in their desire to lead us into being a more inclusive and anti-racist ELCA. Thank you.